Second oral question, Baroness Hayter of Kentish Town.
I beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
The Government has not had any discussions with the General Medical Council on its internal guidance for pregnant or menopausal staff. The GMC is independent from the Government and its internal guidance is produced for its staff. It is not for doctors registered with the GMC. The Government is clear that biological sex matters and there are different health needs between the sexes. Removing language around biological sex has the potential for unintended and adverse health consequences.
I don't think that answer is quite satisfactory, and I'm sorry that the Minister used the words pregnant staff rather than pregnant women. Maybe the GMC lost out on the medical lessons when they would have learned that men produce sperm, we produce eggs, and when they're fertilised in our wombs, we give birth and we become mothers. And when that's over, it's us that goes through the menopause. The GMC has a statutory duty. It is the register of all the doctors that work in the NHS. It has a duty to maintain public confidence, and I wonder how many mothers would have confidence in a doctor that thinks that men can have babies. So I do ask the Minister that he should engage with the GMC, because it may be their internal guidance that has upset some of us, but actually they regulate doctors, how they oversee them, how they train them, how they interview them. The language they use matters. So I do hope the Government will take this a little more seriously.
I can definitely confirm we're taking it very seriously. I think the Secretary of State was very clear in his speech recently at the party conference that it's vital that we recognise the importance of the different biological health needs, and that's being very clear about describing a woman as a woman and being clear on that. I apologise. The noble lady is quite right to pick me up on that particular point, and she is quite right in that, but we are very, very clear that biological sex is absolutely vital in terms of addressing people's health needs, and it's very clear that we're addressing women and men as men.
Under the Government's watch, there have been attempts to erase the word woman in various government departments and public bodies. One example is the NHS Race and Health Observatory, which the Government funds. I wrote to them last year and they said that they would address my concerns. What assurances can the Government give that all incidents anywhere where the Government has oversight have been addressed? And also, are there any central mechanisms where the public and staff can share concerns? Because it's not feasible to report concerns to a line manager because it could result in bullying. Us women will not be erased.
Absolutely agree, and that's why, as I say, we couldn't be firmer to say that we want to make sure it's very, very clear in the NHS Constitution that we are referring to women as women, and that has got to be the absolute primary descriptor in the case, and men as men. And we couldn't be more clear on that, and very happy to take that up across government as well.
Would my noble friend on the front bench take an opportunity to pay tribute to the heroism, and I use the word deliberately, of J.K. Rowling and those like her who have spoken out so passionately and so often? What the noble lady Baroness Hayter said, we should all echo to the rafters.
Completely agree. I believe more than anything in society we've got to be tolerant of people and their ability to have free speech and express their views freely. And I think we've all seen circumstances where people feel intimidated to express what they feel is right, and particularly in this circumstance, stating quite clearly when a woman is a woman and when a man is a man.
My Lords.
I'm very proud to be a grandmother, I have to say, as well as a mother. Could I ask the noble Lord the Minister, will he in fact talk to the GMC?
Yes, I'm very happy to do that and make clear the feelings of this House.
My Lords, can I welcome the comments of the Minister on the GMC and endorse the GMC's independent role. And I commend their wish to treat all patients with dignity and respect, even though there are only a relatively tiny number of men, trans men, giving birth each year. They all matter. and they all deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. If he can, will the Minister tell the House how both women born as women and trans men are to be treated with equal respect without offending either?
No, again, absolutely, people should always be treated with respect, and so that's why I think we're quite clear that the primary descriptor should be woman in this circumstance. But you know, in the few cases, it's also been clear as a secondary descriptor, people with a cervix. So it's quite clear that we're talking about a woman as a woman, and by the way, that's very important in terms of people with English as a second language, so that they understand very clearly a woman is a woman. But for completeness, for those cases where you know, there might be a change of sex, we're being very clear that it's for everyone with a cervix.
My Lord, I intend no respect to anybody and disrespect to anybody. But I would like to ask the Noble Lord the Minister, in view of the fact that the GMC has a really important issue in regulating language, particularly for overseas graduates who come to Britain, can he just tell me how many male members of the GMC have given birth to a child? And if he can't now, maybe he'd be good enough to send me a letter to let me know.
I'm very willing to hazard a guess at 0, but I will happily follow that up in writing with the exact number.
Thank you. My Lords, I do not intend to be frivolous. I have had a privilege of looking after thousands of mothers during their pregnancy. It has been a great privilege to do so. Motherhood, therefore, terms like mother and women should not be removed in any guidance, whether GMC or not. I have spoken to GMC and expressed my discomfort of them removing the words mother and women. Yes, of course, I recognize the transgender issues, and I also recognize, therefore, that those that may consider themselves women could have children. But that does not remove the importance of motherhood. Mother is more than that. Mother is about motherhood and the responsibilities and what they contribute to children. So I regret that the GMC has decided to remove these words.
I think the Noble Lord makes the point very well, and I don't think I have anything to add apart from a basic agreement.
The GMC may be independent, but it is a creature of statute and should remember that. Parliament can change its statutes at any time. Are we to anticipate that if the doctor's regulator, this creature of statute, refers to its female staff, by which I mean women, as chest feeders or people with cervixes, that the Minister will make it plain that that language from the medical regulator is unacceptable?
I'm quite happy, as mentioned previously, to talk to the GMC about their use of language, the importance of the use of correct language, and the feelings of all of us in the House today that is clear about women who are women and mothers, and men who are male and fathers. I will leave it to them on how they deal with their staff matters, but I'd be very clear on medical issues, the belief of all of us here in this House.
I wonder if the Noble Lord, the Minister, can tell the House how many men there are on the GMC and how many women there are on the GMC.
I will need to reply in writing on that one.
My Lords, I think it's this. My Lords, I think it's this side. My Lords, clear, unambiguous language in healthcare messaging saves lives. And I was disturbed to read that 1/3 of women who are eligible for cervical screening are not coming forward. So can you explain why NHS UK is not mentioning the word women when it comes to cervical screening, yet when it comes to screening on men's conditions, the word men is used?
The Noble Lady is absolutely correct, and that's why we've made sure that that language is made very, very clear, because the most important thing about the whole debate is actually the health needs of people. And absolutely, as the Noble Lady says, the vital thing there is that every woman understands that it's important she has cervical screening from time to time, and it's very clear in all the communications that we mean her in that instance. And obviously in circumstances for men, we're very clear where we mean men. So I completely agree with the noble lady. That is absolutely the point, that the health needs are paramount, and that requires clear language.